Hi, I'm Aoife, and we are getting close to having our first feast event in Dragon's Lair on October 11th, which is our Harvest Feast. And I had a few moments, and I was starting to get my feast gear together just to make sure that everything was where I was expecting it to be. And I thought I would do a quick little video about what kind of things you might need in your feast basket. Of course, it's in a basket because I love a basket. So some people will put their feast gear in a tote. Some people will put it in a bag. It's kind of whatever's easiest for you to navigate. There's going to be zero judgment on how you transport your things from your car to the event site. So when I go to these feasts, I tend to think about it as I'm going to a party and they are going to provide all of the food, but I need to provide anything that I'm going to need to consume that food with. So I will make sure I've got plates and bowls because you never quite know. If you've looked at the menu, awesome, then you kind of know to be prepared. I sometimes will just always make sure that I have a plate and bowl thrown in there. These are just kind of ceramic ones that I've found. And if you have wooden or metal that you found, those are awesome. Even glass is great. You kind of want to stay away from like a really bright plastic if you can help it. There are some people though that have used paper plates, and that's okay too. We just want you to come and enjoy the feast with us. Silverware. You want to make sure that you bring silverware with you. So I know, yes, forks, forks were not used until later in the medieval ages. Yes, but I want to be able to enjoy my food with fork. So I'm going to bring my fork with me. I have also sometimes will throw a sharper knife into my feast basket, just in case there might be something that I need to cut, a loaf of bread, or, it could be anything, just being prepared. Drinks. You can use just about anything for your drink vessel. It doesn't have to be a really fancy goblet. It doesn't have to be a beautiful handmade ceramic mug. If you have those, that's amazing and awesome, but you do not have to worry about getting that before your first feast. I've used a coffee mug. I actually was gifted this from a friend. She made it, and I think it's awesome. And I also will bring just a plain glass with me because you just never quite know what you're going to need sometimes. And I make sure that I bring with me is a plastic bag so I can put all of my dirty dishes into it, because a lot of times at feasts there is not a place to wash your dishes afterwards. And I also want to always make sure that I bring some kind of little like dish towel, or just because you can spill something. You might need a place to like lay something out. There's been times where I've forgotten an extra plate if I wanted to bring some food to eat before the feast. So, because usually when you're at an event all day, feast isn't until later in the day. So I will bring like cheese and crackers and fruit and things like that. And I had forgotten to bring something to put that on. So luckily I had an extra towel one time and I just laid everything out on the towel and it was perfect. You might want to think as you kind of get into things about a tablecloth or a table runner or something like that, or even candles. But with the candles, you want to make sure that you check with the event to see what kind of things you're supposed to, if you're allowed to bring a real candle, or if it needs to be a battery operated candle. And if you know who you want to be sitting with at feast, you can talk to them and see if they already have some table decorations. Sometimes there's fun competitions about seeing who has the most decorated table. And sometimes it's just fun to find a tablecloth and put a nice tablecloth out on the table. For napkins, you don't need to, that can be something as simple as a little piece of material left over from something that you're working on, or it could be a piece of linen, or it could be some flour sack towels that you might have gotten. Any of those would be perfect. Okay, I hope you're feeling a little bit more prepared for your first feast, and if you've got any questions, let us know. That's why we're here, and we look forward to seeing you out there.